Hello all and welcome to episode 73 of the 3 for 1 Sky Fantasy podcast by fantasyfootballhub.co.uk with our final Overhaul Special before the deadline and with new fixtures announced following our part 1 on Monday. My name is Fergi and I am joined tonight by two legends of the Sky Fantasy game. Firstly, former champion, the returning Dan Cox, looking particularly ghoulish with his bright light and green background. Great to have you back, Dan. How have things been with you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, hope you're all right. As for the green, mate, as I said, it's the green screen that I use for my videos. And just that's how it is. That's why this is that. Yeah, don't look great, but what can you do?
Dan's doing the old Halloween special, even though it's nearly Valentine's Day. We are also joined by Fixture Maestro and no doubt future Sky FF champion Ian Parrin. Great to have you back, Ian. How have things been with you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Andrew. Glad to be back. Seems like it's been a while.
It does. It has. It has, hasn't it? I think the last time we were all together was something like November, wasn't it? And obviously, so much has happened over through December, Christmas, New Year, COVID,
all changed.
Absolute chaos. But hopefully, we can make sense of it this evening for everyone watching. Liam Dorrian, former champ Liam, was due to come on as well, but he had to pull out last minute as he had a problem with his wisdom teeth. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing that with the thousands of people who are no doubt going to watch this back. But for any new watchers and listeners, you're very, very welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, please press the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen and set the alerts so you don't miss our podcasts and live streams, which are usually every week. Also, please press the like button if you enjoy our content. It would be much appreciated. Good evening to everyone in the chat. Absolutely fantastic to be back live at 9 p.m. Ream Gaming is in, as is Gordon Hamilton, Dale Turner, Daniel Barnes, Brownie, Tony Blair is in, Kippy, Matt Woolley, Dragos, Chris Moller, Gareth Pay, Graham Craig, Shane White, Sean Thorpe, who's written an absolutely fantastic guide on the hub, which I'll touch on now, Nick Stevens, Matt Sky, and many, many more. Absolutely great, fantastic to have you all with us. I'll touch on that briefly, actually. So our very own Dan, pictured there right in the middle, has written a Sky Overhaul guide. If you haven't seen that on fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, make sure you get onto that now. And that also links off to a very detailed team-by-team preview written by at FF Thinker, Sean Thorpe. If you go on, he has gone through, and he has gone back through them all today, would you believe, and updated them to take into account the revised fixtures, which bounced this morning about 10:30 in the morning, rendering all my previous content for the week and lots of other content creators content absolutely null and void. But firstly, let's just touch on those fixtures, the ones confirmed for those who haven't seen them. So on Wednesday the 23rd of February, Burnley v Spurs has been thrown right in the middle alongside Watford versus Palace and Liverpool versus Leeds. I think the Liverpool versus Leeds one was probably expected, to be fair, wasn't it? But the other two, a little bit of a surprise.
It's been dropped by telly, though.
Oh, right, okay. That's interesting.
And it's on a Champions League night, isn't it?
It is, you're right, yeah. And then Thursday the 24th, Arsenal v Wolves has been dumped in as well.
That one is on Amazon.
That one is on Amazon. So the Wednesday night one doesn't probably have a massive impact because I think that, we heard earlier in the week that Liverpool and Leeds was kind of likely to fall in there anyway. But that Thursday is interesting because Arsenal and Wolves, I haven't seen many drafts at all with any Arsenal or Wolves players, and that probably changes things quite a bit. Firstly, before we dive into it, Dan, how has your overhaul planning been going?
I think before I went to bed last night, I was sort of thinking I'm getting there now. Do you know what I mean? Spoken to Paul, and I was like, okay, yeah, and had a little look at exchange teams. Oh yeah, similar, and sort of think you're done. And then today, you're like, I'm old school, so I printed off here it's got all blurred in it. I printed off the FF stuff fixture grid, yeah. So I'd done this, and I'd done some little drawings of this, that, and the other. And then at work today, I was like, get all that in the bin, get on the printer at work. Printer at home, print off some more of the fixture grids, and then let's start again. But everything I had done, I just threw it in the bin, and we'll start again now at looking at best captains each day, and what can I move on to, and this, that, and the other. So yeah, I don't really have a team now. I'm open, after listening to Ian now. That's why I brought a pen and I'm going to make some notes. So I haven't now, but hopefully by the end I will have.
And And Ian, so you've been sharing on Twitter over the last week that you feel, or you felt, and hopefully you still feel like with your transfer count, bear in mind you're at a fantastic rank as well, that you can get into April, so after the international break in March, with 20 transfers still remaining. Is that still the case after the
There or
announcement
thereabouts,
today?
yeah.
Wow,
There or thereabouts.
Very, very impressed and very, very eager to listen to what you have to say, because that will be, if you can stay roughly at that rank or even a bit higher. So for those listening on audio, Ian is currently 408th overall, and he plans to go into April with 20 transfers left. You must have a hell of a shout of an incredible finish. That's why I said future Sky FF champ. Hopefully, Ian, but we will.
Let's hope so.
We will see indeed. I think for me, it actually helped me resolve a bit of a dilemma. We'll touch on it more kind of, when we get to the specific fixtures. But for me, Ward Prowse is someone I had in my draft. I shared my draft on Monday when we did the Overhaul pod, but it doesn't really excite me. And you know what happens when you plan a bit too far in advance at times as well. It doesn't really kind of pan out. So I think the extra game, especially for Liverpool, has made me change my plans there a little bit. But go through it as we
yeah, I've got Ward Prowse as part of a plan.
I'm sure you have, Ian, because you're a planner, whereas probably I and probably Dan, I would guess as well, we tend to play a bit more aggressively, shall we say, for want of a better word. But Ian, so Ian is going to walk us through the fixtures. He's got loads of graphics from his planner as well, and
all the graphics from the planner. You'll have to talk me through which one you've got on the screen, Andrew. Have we got the team fixture dates starting with Saturday, 5th of February? Is that the first one up?
We have. I've got them on screen exactly as requested, Mr. Parrin. So,
excellent,
yeah.
Excellent. So the first set of the team's fixture count from the transfer planner, and I've set it up to start with. So the left-hand side that we can see is all of the fixtures that have been scheduled, including today's announcements, up to the end of March, which is the last international break of the season. So we can see those with the most is Burnley and Watford, now with 9 each. And then we've got Palace have got 8, Tottenham have got 8, Wolves have got 8, I think United have got 8. There's several 7s, a couple of 6s, because now Arsenal and Leicester both got 6. And you'll see Chelsea at the bottom there with only 4. That's because they go off to the World Club Championships after the next FA Cup round, I think.
They do. I think.
Yeah, their match they would have played against.
Didn't they?
Yeah, the match they would have played next week against Brighton has already been played, finished in a 1-1 draw. And then the next part on there, I've filtered the game weeks to start between 33 and 41. So that is pretty much everything that's left to be played between after the international break and the start of this end of May. So they're all of the fixtures that are scheduled into the system that aren't still to be arranged, if that makes sense.
And quickly, because this is interesting, because this is where we can maybe see, so all the pods this week, including our ones, have talked about, kind of starting off with the overhaul. But it's very obviously hard to plan in advance. But I suppose what this tells us on the, on the right-hand side are the teams that
they're going to have more fixtures later on in the season.
Yeah, and our teams will likely have a lot more of these players than
later on
than our initial team. So just to let's go through. Everton have got 11, Villa, Burnley, Leicester, and Newcastle have got 10. And interesting with Leicester, because they're still in the Europa League, aren't they?
The Conference League, yeah.
The Conference League. They're going to find it very, very hard to fulfil their fixtures, aren't
they? If they go through in that, and also carry on in the FA Cup, come the end of May, they're going to have a lot of fixtures to fulfil. So I think we've got more detail on the next slide, Andrew.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to move it on my screen so I can see as well.
Going quicker than you.
Yeah, you are. So then we look, the Fixtures next are the ones that have got to be rearranged still. So this is everything that's sort of sitting in the ether yet that will get slotted in somewhere. And as you say, Leicester with the most, they're on 4. Arsenal 3, Everton 3, some 2s, some 1s. And you'll notice there's quite a few 0s where nobody's got a rearranged game left to go. So you've got Brentford, Crystal Palace, Manchester City, Manchester United, and West Ham. So a bit like I've heard on other pods today, I've heard the Fantasy Football Scout one with Luke and Niall, Planet, and the Season Keepers one. They're saying that you've got quite a lot of fixtures gains to come later in the season. But most people, apart from Chelsea, are playing a similar amount at the start. So if you want to go heavy on the likes of Liverpool or Manchester City first off, you're not going to lose any fixture gains because they're all playing a similar amount of games between now and sort of the start of March.
And probably most importantly, they're the teams that have got really good fixtures, and they are the best teams in the league.
And they're really good players.
Exactly. Can I ask you, Dan? In terms of that, it's especially around Man City. Are you how heavy are you going in? Because obviously they're very likely to win the league. So you probably don't want to go kind of all the way in because they haven't got the extra fixtures, and and you're likely going to want to shift a couple out. But what are your thoughts on Man City, knowing what we know at the moment?
It is hard, isn't it? Because obviously they are the best players to have, like, Laporte, Diaz, Cancelo, going to outscore any other defenders, aren't they? But do you know what I mean? Even though they have got less games, compared to, you wouldn't have a Burnley block, would you? Because they've got more games. So, but I don't know, this time last year, everyone was in on Man City, weren't they? Because they had so many games, didn't they, in a quick period. But, but I think most people are going to have a couple of Man City defenders at least, aren't they? So I feel like I probably will have a couple of them just to cancel that off with people. But yeah, like even to say, just looking at the next couple of weeks, they only play like 3 times, don't they? Up until like the end of Feb sort of thing. Then they got Everton, but the games that Manchester United and Spurs and all that play. Yeah, so not a full. I wouldn't be having 3 or 4 Man City defenders. I think 2's enough.
What about if you're chasing? Luke and Niall did, a really interesting piece on theirs as well, around, obviously it's very different to if you're kind of, at the front and doing well and defending, as opposed to if you're chasing as well. Do you think, go in really heavy on Man City, and trying to really stock up on points early and then maybe moving off most of them later on is a viable sort of tactic, Ian? Maybe going for, Laporte, Diaz, Ederson, Cancelo, Rodri and Silva for their kind of 3 or 4 games. You should, if they win their games reasonably comfortably, keep clean sheets, they'll all be nailed on for clean sheets and passing bonus and then move off. Do you think that's viable?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough tactic. If you look, Manchester City have got 3 fixtures, Liverpool have got 4. If you want to go heavy with 3 of each at the start in February, I don't see that being a problem. Where the issue is going to be if those that have got a lower transfer count, you're already booking them in, aren't you?
You are, yeah.
And I think there's definitely moves to come towards Arsenal and Chelsea with defenders later in the season. Leicester, you might not. Their defence might be great. Justin's back; he was terrific a couple of seasons back, wasn't he?
He was.
And that's all to come later on. So the way that I often, well, certainly to the guys in my Hub WhatsApp group, I've said every time I've been on this pod, I think, try and make your plan of where you're going to make your moves, put the players in place now that you think you can move on later on for a gain. And I think if you've got 3 or 4 or even 5 Liverpool or City defenders for 7 games in Feb, you can move them on to other ones in March and April.
Yeah. I think just kind of widely on differentials. I think I've mentioned this, I did a Dream Team pod on Sunday, and I think I mentioned it also in the Sky one on Monday. I think in terms of differential, instead of going for wild punts on unknowns and unpopular players, I do think going all in on a team, has a much bigger chance of upside rather than going for, Mane instead of Salah, or punting on Cornet, just as an example, as the captain, or or Weghorst. I'm not saying
if you look at Liverpool, they've got 4 fixtures now, haven't they, with that rearrangement? Leicester, Burnley, Norwich, and Leeds.
Yeah, nice.
If you were punting, you'd probably say 2 clean sheets, possibly 3, outside chance of 4.
And potential attacking returns.
Passing bonus in most.
Yeah, I think so.
Attacking returns, well, from Robertson, Trent, even Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And interestingly, Ian, on the right-hand side, it shows the total games left.
That's the total number of fixtures that they've got left to go.
This is mental, because it really shows how far we've got left in the season, right?
Yeah. And how far have we got left in the season?
Well, Burnley haven't even played half their fixtures yet, because Burnley have got 20 fixtures. They've only played 18. And even, teams like Everton, Leicester, Spurs and Watford have only played half their games. So if if we're thinking in terms of...
I think it's something like 43% of the season to go.
Yeah. And if you think like chronologically, normally at this kind of time, we're around about, what are we, normally, game week 25-ish. So, it's, 25 game weeks will have been played. But a lot of teams have still got, half their fixtures left. So
yeah,
there's a long way to go. And I think what this has showed me is that we're not in the running yet, are we? We're
no chance. The running won't start till after the international break, and that's 2 months away. And so 2 whole months away.
And so, in terms of being, massively concerned about rank, or I'm never going to catch up, and all this kind of stuff,
you can easily catch up.
Yeah, I agree. Dan, what are your thoughts on that? In terms of you're 526 at the moment. You've got a pretty reasonable amount of transfers left. What are your thoughts on kind of where you are in the season? Are you thinking it's a bit too late, to try and win it or win your mini leagues, or do you think actually there's still plenty of time to go?
Yeah, like Ian just said, there is plenty of time to go in there. I'd have liked to have been 525th. Don't take the place off me. So I'd have liked to have been like another 100 or 2 up. Do you know what I mean? But I've got 20 transfers, so I'm still pretty confident I'll get a top 100 finish.
Yeah.
So but it's annoying because I look at Will Ream, who he's in the chat. He's top, and I think he's like nearly 200 points clear of me or something like that. Oh. Do you know what I mean? So you think, 200 points. Do you know what I mean? To try to, which I don't think I can do. Do you know what I mean? Because he's still got transfers. So yeah, he can't win it. But yeah, I'm quite interested to see how high I can get with my team now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I obviously want a top 100. Been a bit of a disappointing season, but yeah, I still think I'll do a top 100 with 20 transfers left and being 500. So quite interesting to see the running. But like you say, when we get to that FA Cup weekend and teams start getting the 3-for-1s and stuff like that, I think we can use all the transfers we have to make some good points, hopefully. So yeah, I'm still pretty don't know, maybe a top 50, I don't know, but I think I'll just take a top 100 for now.
If you think, we were talking back, at the back end of like October, November, saying that, the winner's already in the top 100, or the winner's already in the top 10, and the game's over already. And just look how much the game, look how much water got under the bridge between then and now, and that and more is yet to go again. So I think for those who are kind of struggling a little bit, there's plenty of time, and for those who are up the top, and thinking of clinging on, 42% of the season is it's a long time to cling on. So I still think playing sensibly and keeping your discipline and not kind of going all in, which I've done time and time again, right? As soon as I get to kind of within the reaches, and I think, oh my goodness, I've got a chance of winning it, I've got a chance of winning amazing, I tend to just have a bit of a splurge, and then what happens is you realize there's still 30% of the season left, and a lot of football to be played. And Dan, you're absolutely right what you say as well. Towards the end of the season, we're going to have masses of 3-for-1s, 4-for-1s, single game days, and that's when, as Ian's planning, all the progress can then be made, can't it?
I sent to some people in the chat 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was saying I'd got like 60% more transfers than somebody with an average transfer account. say we use 5 or 6 each, I'm going to have 100% more than them.
That's a good way of putting it, Ian. Blimey. Yeah.
And there's other people in the same position. There's loads of ground to make up. I wouldn't say to anybody that thinks they're struggling at the minute, there's loads of time to go. Loads of it.
Excellent. We've got your slide now on screen, which shows your...
Is this the TV matches?
It is the TV matches, yeah.
So these are all of the matches that have been postponed earlier in the season that have still got to be scheduled in. And you'll note there I've got 5 that are noted as Sky matches and 2 that are Amazon matches. And the reason why this is reasonably important, twofold. They're less likely to get put into the Champions League weeks coming up at the start of March, which we'll see on the next graphic shortly where they are. And you'll see the Sky ones there. You've got Tottenham Arsenal, Chelsea Arsenal, Arsenal Liverpool, Chelsea Leicester. They really like those games at the back end of the season in game week 33, 36, 37 as midweek matches. Really like it. And we've seen before, I think it was Chelsea and Everton were playing on a Monday at the end of 2, maybe 3 seasons ago. So they moved matches onto a Friday to accommodate a Friday, Monday. So it wouldn't surprise me when we get to the end of 36, 37, 38, you'll have teams playing Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Monday, Thursday, Sunday.
That's me.
Loads of games to fit in at the back end. And the reason they can do it then is because you've got the midweek spare.
Of course, yeah, of course. Wow.
The only midweek match in 37 is the Europa League final.
We'll be loading up on Arsenal. We're going to have Gabriel.
Arsenal and Leicester, I think. Yeah.
Arsenal and
Ramsdale, Gabriel, Tielemans, and good old Jamie Vardy done.
Jamie Vardy,
Ooh.
yeah, indeed.
So if we look at the last of these fixture screens,
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, got it up.
This is from the Sun Dream Team planner, which also includes European and domestic matches, all told. So if we have a look there specifically, we've got the FA Cup this weekend with Burnley Watford for the Premier League. Then midweek, Premier League round. Weekend, Premier League round. Midweek is the first of the Champions League rounds. And we also see in there, we've got Man United v Brighton, single game day. So, 2 schools of thought there. Are we starting a Man United player? Or does a cheeky Webster punt cover that one off nicely? What do you think, boys?
Yeah, what do you think, Dan? Because I'm battling over this one myself.
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me because I don't know. I don't know. I did think Ronaldo, but I put him in for Kane about 4 weeks before the overhaul, and that's when Kane started getting a goal or two, and then Ronaldo didn't really do anything. So I'm a bit pained to put him back in, but it does look like you need United. So that's what I'm then weighing up my De Gea. He'd cover that off. But then do I want to skip Burnley Watford? Do I want to start with Weghorst for 2 games, move him on? All sort of stuff I'm still going on about. So I do want a Man U, but I just don't know if it's going to be Ronaldo or De Gea. Even Fernandes, I don't know yet.
So we'll look at the...
What do you think, Andrew?
Well, we'll look at the ownership slide next, which, as Paul, he kind of says every week, he's very much kind of guided by that. But...
Well, let's work through the rest then and come back to that after, shall we?
Yes, okay then, yeah.
Okay, so the following weekend is a Premier League full weekend. Then the midweek after that is another European midweek, and this is the one where the fixture announcements made today going in. So the Wednesday we've got Liverpool, Leeds, Palace, Watford, and Burnley, Tottenham. Yep. I think most people there are going to be okay with Liverpool, aren't we? You would think?
So,
yeah. Thursday's your tricky one, isn't it? Wolves v Arsenal. I've seen a lot of Kilman talk. Could be a good one to get in early, cover it off. I've seen a lot of talk where people are going to go from Pope or De Gea to Ramsdale. Could be good. But then when we come to the next midweek that we can't see yet, the only fixture I think that's guaranteed to go in there at the minute is a Burnley game, because the following midweek is FA Cup 5th round. And there's not many fixtures that have been postponed where both teams are currently out. I think it's Burnley v Aston Villa. So that if all of the favourites go through in the FA Cup 5th round, I think Burnley v Villa will be played midweek alongside those FA Cup 5th round games.
And this is maybe
I think the Premier League are hoping for Nottingham Forest to beat Leicester.
Right, I see. I see. Yeah, because it kind of eases up Leicester.
Because then Burnley v Leicester can go in that week.
Right. But I suppose that does kind of lend itself to just leaving Pope. They've got 20 games left, and they're also, because they've got the most fixtures as well, they're gonna very likely have extra single.
There's more games to fit in for Pope as well. Yeah,
so it does. We're seeing some in the chat.
I think he's almost certain to get a game in that midweek. Almost certain.
Yeah. Sean is saying Pope to Sarr in the chat. I'm sure I saw something earlier around Pope to Ramsdale, maybe, or something along those lines.
Yeah, Pope to Sarr, Pope to Ramsdale, or, as we'll see a bit later on with the fixtures, Pope to Sarr to Ramsdale is a possibility.
Cool, okay.
Yeah.
Reem Gaming is in the chat, and he says, I don't think you can catch up. He thinks he's got his name on the trophy. And Hornet says, waiting for Ian's Wordle tactics slide. That's what everyone's really here.
That's what they're all here for, yeah.
We don't give a monkeys about Sky FF. We're all about the Wordle. So yeah, it's a really good game, Wordle, isn't it? I really enjoy it.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
I wait up till midnight most nights just to play Wordle and then
go
to
I
sleep.
do. Sad, isn't it?
You do as well. Sad, brilliant. Yeah, it is sad times. Join Fantasy Football Hub for Wordle tips and tactics and expert reveal. No, I'm joking.
We should do a little pod on that each day.
We should do a pod. You're right.
5 minutes.
Is there anything else, Ian? On
we get that in super chat, Andrew. Yeah,
we can. You're right. Is there anything else you want to point out, Ian?
Yeah, just a couple of bits coming further up, Andrew. Yeah. So if we look at the next 2 midweeks, our Champions League game, wouldn't be surprised to see Chelsea go into one of those after they come back from the World Club Cup.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to note is the last weekend there, the FA Cup quarter-final, currently there's only one game that's guaranteed to be there, which is Aston Villa against Arsenal, lunchtime kickoff on the Saturday. That Friday game, Wolves v Leeds, Leeds are out of the FA Cup, but if Wolves reach the quarter-final, that game will be postponed.
Okay. Fantastic. And that's about the amount of time, looking at Chelsea's running as well, which is absolutely superb. We can see a bit of an exodus potentially off, I say an exodus off Liverpool and Man City. It's more the jump on Chelsea defenders for their price, volume of fixtures and quality of fixtures.
I think it's March the 11th, Sunday fixture against Newcastle. We'll come to them later on, I guess. Yeah, Andrew?
We will. Superb. So let's have a look at the ownership. We looked at this on Monday, and what we did is Paul used a gauge of Salah's ownership. So his kind of thought on looking at active Overhaul teams was looking at Salah's ownership, because he thinks everyone will have Salah. So it was 52% on Monday. It's now 61%. So I'll include myself in that. So I've kind of I've built my team now, which I hadn't on Monday as well. But I think his thinking was roughly 70% of teams will likely have Salah for their Overhaul team. But Dan, you just wanted to kind of run through a few of the changes happening in the last few days.
Yeah, so I don't know about Salah, because now obviously, are they winning Egypt? I don't know, but there's gone to extra time on it. But they got the 3rd, 4th place playoff, even if they lose. So I think there's a bit of doubt whether he'll even start against Leicester. Is it Leicester?
It is
Leicester
on Thursday.
So, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even if they win, they're gonna have a party and stuff. So I don't know. Well, I agreed with him at the time, but now I don't think maybe Salah might not be the gauge, because some people might not be starting with him. So I don't know. But anyway, looking at what Paul had on Monday, so it hasn't really changed really. Cancelo's still top. He's gone up to 97% now. I think he was about 96. Bowen on 90%. Good couple of captaincy days. Gallagher 77. Been brilliant all season. Trent 73%. Laporte 66. Trent's gone up from 66 to 73. Laporte's gone up from 57 to 66. Salah, like I said, he's gone up to 61%. Rafinha 53%. Never had him all season. Ronaldo 46. That'll be Manchester United cover. Pope had gone up from 35 on Monday to 44 now, and Kane is 35% owned. That's just the top 10. Other ones are just, if you head to FF stuff.
Kane's interesting, isn't he?
Kane, yeah, 35. I then checked out De Gea. He's 30%. He's gone down from 32%. Ward-Prowse, 24%. So a lot of people already got him in for that, for that Friday. Dennis still at 19%. So I'm thinking maybe 19% of people haven't touched the team yet, because obviously he's banned, and for the first game. I know he does play twice, whatever, in the first week. Rodri, 13%, thought was interesting. He's the joint sixth highest scoring midfielder. I've had him all season. He's been amazing, but it's nice to see him getting a bit of recognition. Not really changed too much, really. I think, I can't remember whether it was Rafinha or Ronaldo had swapped places, I think, but much of a muchness now is still sort of the same. And, I think it's quite easy to pick a team out of that top 20, really, and have at least 10, not even, 11 out of them.
Just to answer Ian's previous question about, looking at Ronaldo, for example, against maybe De Gea, just looking at that, Ronaldo's in 46% of teams, De Gea is in 30. Noticed Van Dijk is, I say only, he's in 23. And for me, I've got a bit of a dilemma at the moment as to whether to go for Van Dijk or go for Ronaldo. But I think because the rest of the, I think I've got that top 9 anyway. I haven't got Kane, but I've got Webster. I think I've got like 9 of that top 10, for example. And I've got a bit of a wild card shout, I think, which I'll touch on in a bit. But I think I'll be going for Ronaldo because of their quality of fixtures, and it's not just the short term. They've got a fixture. It's in FPL game week 27, and it's home to Watford, and there's a natural hop off point, isn't it, to maybe hop off Ronaldo to Kane the week before. But I think that home to Watford game, as it stands, obviously we'll get to see how Watford do over the next kind of the 2 or 3, but that could be a pretty big game, I think. And to answer the question, I suppose, around Man United versus Brighton, I do think Webster, what is he now, 30%? He's obviously amazing value, but you've got to fancy United to score, haven't you? And it's
he ain't getting a lot of points, is he, Webster, that night? He's not. If you're planning the ideal captain, he's not your ideal captain, is he, for that? You would want a De Gea or Ronaldo, ideally, wouldn't you?
It's probably, his ceiling on that one is probably,
as a captain's 10.
Yes, exactly. It's 10 points. Whereas Ronaldo's, he could get a 2-pointer, but he could get, obviously 4 doubled, but it only needs a goal, and kind of shots on target to shoot up to 18. And there's the other games as well. It's not just the single game day. So I think I'm going for Ronaldo to start off with that game in mind, and that Watford one as well. But you can obviously, he's so expensive that you can obviously move him on to practically anyone anyway, can't you? So,
well, if you look at the fixtures for United, then Andrew, you've got Burnley, Southampton, Brighton. Brighton's a single game day. Yeah. Leeds, Watford, Man City, and then you can switch to Kane on the Monday.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
If you switch to Kane beforehand, fair enough, you missed the City game, but like you say, you missed the Watford game as well. I think it's quantity and quality of the fixture. Maybe not the player or the points, but would you rather have somebody having 5 games as opposed to somebody having 3? Of course you would.
I think you agree, and I'm looking at Spurs' opening games. They're home to Southampton, which is, you can say it's a decent game, but Southampton have improved markedly.
Well, they kept City to a draw,
recently.
Didn't they?
They've really improved. Then they've got Wolves, who, as we know, are defensively superb. And then they're away to Man City. So I personally can't see many Spurs goals in that little lot there. After that, they do improve. They got Burnley, Leeds and Everton. But you could also move on someone else to Kane, maybe. Go for a little while, potentially, if you can, obviously budgetary-wise, with Salah, Ronaldo and Kane, maybe. And then move off Ronaldo and leave yourself with Salah and Kane, for example. So I think there's lots of ways of doing it. But I think at the moment, I'm going to avoid Kane at the start.
I think Ronaldo to Kane that would be the template move, wouldn't it?
I think so. Dan, are you interested in Kane?
Not after listening to you just then, mate. No, because I probably wouldn't captain him against Southampton or Wolves anyway, because you've got Cancelo or Salah. then like you say, Man City, and you could even move on to him before the Burnley and Leeds, couldn't you? Offer Ronaldo or something like that. So and that would keep Ronaldo in for the Brighton game. So yeah, I was, but not now, I don't think.
I've got a question for you just while we're on this slide. I mean, who'd have thought that Christian Norgard would have been 13% owned come the Overhaul a while ago? It's absolutely brilliant. It's obviously because of his price. There's Kilman here as well, but in that cheap midfield spot, there's probably Norgard, there's probably Ramsey, who's really cheap, 5.8 I think as well. If there were the thing to go premium, I think Glenn asked this as a question later around going kind of premium at some point, up top that Salah, Kane and Ronaldo up front. Would you be tempted by any of those at all in terms of starting and just kind of leaving them in? Because if you go for Ramsey, especially a 5.8, his job is in your team. It's probably not to score points, is it? His job is basically to mean that you can spend your remaining 20 transfers basically wherever you want in your team. Is that something
and you can spend your other £94.2 million on 10 players?
Exactly that. Is that something that interests you, Ian, at all?
It would, if I thought I might want Kane, Salah and Ronaldo all at the same time. But this is where I have an advantage. I'll have a transfer account that can make me move those three around. Yeah. I won't want all three at the same time.
Okay. What about those, like thinking of big at the back now, obviously there's Laporte and Cancelo, probably obvious ones. Trent is another one who's probably fairly obvious. People would probably love to have Van Dijk as well, and obviously
and Diaz
soon, and Diaz as well, and Edison or Allison, right? So we mentioned earlier that absolute premium defence. Do you think then is a case to get him in? Dan, have you thought of having kind of one of these players and just leaving them in?
Norgard would be interesting. I don't like Ramsey. I know he's 5.8, but I think he's a 2-point merchant, really.
Okay.
So yeah, not for me. I'd rather pay the 0.4 million more and have Norgard, who's at least going to get tackles. You'd hope, he's done great all season for tackles, hasn't he? So can't see why he wouldn't carry on, but I just don't know. I think he's a better pick than Ramsey.
Okay, I'm just having a quick check on. So it's 0-0. It's going to penalties. Cameroon and Egypt, and it's absolutely hilarious. So this could potentially decide on on whether we start with Salah or not, because it's been a bit in the chat, and it's something I'm thinking.
You think about. So?
Yeah. Well, what
okay.
if he plays? So
if Salah doesn't play on Thursday,
yes,
and you want him on Sunday,
yeah,
who are you going to pick in his place?
Potentially De Bruyne.
Okay, to play 2 games.
We would have Brentford and Norwich, so it could be
that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, and there's another couple of teams as well who play. I think Burnley and Watford, but
yeah, but that's not the same.
I think De Bruyne,
fish, is it?
Or maybe even Diaz. If you can get 20 points off Diaz over the 2 games, off your one, and then use one transfer to get in Salah, you've got to be happy with that, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair comment as well. But you do need to watch your formation. Now, you can't start with 5 at the back and do that, can you? If you want to have 5 defenders, you can't have Diaz as well.
No, of course. So you'd move from a 5-3-2 to a 4-3-3.
So, but if you want to play 5 defenders with Salah, you can't use that as a tactic.
But the problem you would have is then, if he does start on the Thursday, and this is the risk you've got to kind of know in your own mind.
Well, you're going to want his captain, aren't you?
If he starts, so
then you've used the transfer just on one Diaz or De Bruyne again.
You have, but that is a risk that I think. If you
is that one for a high transfer account then?
It is maybe, but it's more of the fact that I honestly think if Egypt win this game and they play in the final, which will be on the Sunday, and especially if they win.
Surely if they win the final, I don't think he'll play on the Thursday. But I don't think that'll affect his ownership much in our game.
Okay.
Plus, he's done extra time the game before, didn't he? So he's done 2 games of 120 mins.
Yes, he has.
He'd be knackered.
So it's literally starting now, and Cameroon at first. So as we're talking through, I'll give
live commentary from Fergi.
Exactly that. Okay, so while we're doing that, then let's go through the fixtures then, kind of day by day, and get our thoughts. I've left off. Oh no! Oh, so I've left off a whole slide actually, which is a bit unfortunate. But it's Burnley.
Which one is it?
No, it's just the fixtures for Burnley and Watford first. So,
all right, okay.
So,
I'll talk you through them then. So the first match, but Burnley v Watford on Saturday, 6:00.
Yeah. Dan, are you going with Pope?
He's in my team at the minute. I do like the look of Weghorst. He gets a goal. He's getting man of the match, because that's what I'm thinking. I could have him for 2 games and then flip on to Salah if Salah starts on the Thursday. So that's what I'm looking at it that way. Like, don't start with Salah and do it that way. But yeah, currently Pope. Also, I was going to say,
would you go with both, Dan?
No, I don't think I would. I think I would just be one or the other. Save my transfers for later on. But because that's 6:00, like I said to the boys before, because there's FA Cup games on the Friday, Saturday lunchtime, Saturday 3:00. So keep an eye on that. So if anyone does get injured, you have got till 6:00 to get them out of your team in case fingers crossed they don't. But something to bear in mind.
It's 1-1 on pens, just so you know. At the moment, it's 1-1 on pens. We'll keep that going. Interestingly, both Joseph and David had said that Salah has had 3 120s, someone put, I think it's gone actually, but someone said that they think Salah's going to have a week off regardless. So be interesting if he does, because even if he doesn't get that Burnley game, because obviously on the Sunday at 2:00 you get to see the Liverpool lineup, and if Salah's not in that team, you could even
I'll be amazed if
he's
not in that. You know why?
Go on.
Because Klopp will want him at least getting some minutes back in form, ready for the Inter Milan game the following Wednesday.
Cameroon have just missed a penalty, so Egypt are leading. Egypt are lead, and this may force me not to go.
Does it count as save bonus in AFCON fantasy?
It probably does. I don't know. Okay. So, Ian, are you stuck on Pope? Are you tempted by anyone else?
I'm tempted by Foster.
Okay. Please embellish on a team that haven't kept a clean sheet in God knows how long, and you're not even going to know if he's going to be their number 1.
Just the same amount of fixtures, and the plan would be to move to Sarr or to Ramsdale on the Thursday for Arsenal v Wolves.
Okay. I've got to be fair. It's not something that's really kind of crossed my mind at all. Any interest in attack? I think I'm going to go for. I think I'm tempted by Weghorst in my B team. Just a bit of a differential.
I'm going in the third team with Weghorst.
You are, because I do agree with Dan. I think if he scores, I don't even think it matters if they lose. I think if he scores, it'll be welcome to the Premier League, and all this kind of stuff. But saying that, Cornet has got, I think it's 6 goals in 8 starts or something.
Cornet's a tempter.
Crazy like that as well. Is he classed as a midfielder? I haven't even looked.
Mid. Yeah,
he could be one. Just to have a punter in the B team, because he looks a player. The only issue is
he can play a tune, can't he?
He can. He's just been he's been unfit. How many is his problem? You don't want to stick him in and then have to take him out because he comes off early. And Cameroon have missed another penalty. So
Egypt are winning.
Egypt
are
well in control. It could potentially be a Salah v Mane final next Sunday.
Yeah, they play off against each other in March as well for the World Cup place.
Okay, there we go. That. Let's move on then, Ian, to the next one. So
So Tuesday, 8th of Feb, Newcastle v Everton, West Ham v Watford, Burnley v Man United.
What are your thoughts on that, Dan? On that day,
Bowen done.
I think I'm the same at the moment. Yeah.
80% owned or whatever. When he's really highly owned. Yeah, 90% owned. So Bowen.
Yeah. Move on, I think.
So Wednesday, Norwich v Palace, Man City v Brentford, Tottenham v Southampton, and Villa v Leeds.
Go on in, Dan.
Cancelo done.
Yeah, if he starts, he's done. Yeah.
Same, yeah. Are we all
temptation for Kane if you're starting him? Maybe.
Are we all? So I'm going for Laporte. No hesitation. Are you guys as well?
Laporte's in my team at the minute.
Yeah, I'll have him in.
Yeah, he's just.
Stones will now start playing.
Gordon says the joke was wasted on Fergie. I know you made a joke, Ian. Was it about Cornet?
Yeah, I'm not making a second one.
It was lost on me completely.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember who we were talking about, but
Yeah.
go on, Ian. Do it again so I can appreciate it.
Cornet, he plays a tune.
Oh, fantastic! Sorry, mate. That's absolutely brilliant. It was completely lost on me. So, Thursday.
Okay,
now,
Thursday.
Okay,
yeah,
Egypt.
Wolves v Arsenal and Liverpool. Oh, go on. We having running commentary again.
Well, Egypt have won, so Egypt are in the final. So Salah will be playing on Sunday.
Yep.
So that coincides beautifully with
Thursday. Thursday. Wolves v Arsenal. And Liverpool v Leicester. I'm captaining Trent.
Oh, hang on! You've changed your tune from like 10 seconds ago when you were.
Salah will be in the team though. If he's not in, he'll be in my team definitely. If he's in Liverpool's team, he'll be captain. If he's on Liverpool's bench, Alexander-Arnold will be captain.
Why wouldn't you go and get another couple of games off another player? I'll
have picked the team by Saturday.
Okay. Dan, is Salah in your start 11? Or are you tempted to maybe move on to him from someone else?
Like I said about Weghorst, yes, you could start with him. I know the second game's against United, but it's only one transfer. If I go then Weghorst to Salah on the Thursday, it's one transfer. It's not like I've got to use two, to bring Weghorst in and then to take him out. So for one transfer, I could just have Weghorst, do you know what I mean? And then if Salah's starting on that game, bring him in. I need to have a look at this and have a plan. I had a chance really at work, but I was going to Salah, but I don't think so now. Like, is he going to play on Thursday after playing Sunday? Like,
surely
don't seem very likely to me. I know if he even comes on at half time, he could still get a couple of goals, but
I do like De Bruyne shout, Andrew. That might tempt me.
Or Diaz as well. Like I say, it's.
I don't think I can get to Diaz.
Oh, I see. Because
I want 5 defenders.
Already on 5 at the back. Yeah, it's only a thought because it does seem a shame. And the thing is as well, how these things sometimes happen, and not with Salah per se, but what could happen is next Sunday rolls around. And for whatever reason, Klopp has said, Salah's come back. He's a bit tired. We're just going to give him an extra rest. And all of a sudden, you have a third game of a City player. I'm not saying for a minute that is going to happen. But I think as long as you understand the risk that Salah may start.
Where's the third game coming from there?
They play before then, do they? They
play on the same day. Liverpool at home to Norwich.
Play on the same day. That's fair enough. I've been interested in the chat. Is anyone?
You could get a third game out of United player.
Okay. It's
because they play on that February the 15th.
Okay.
Single game day.
Interested in the chat. Is anyone thinking of going without Salah with the news that we know now he will definitely be playing the AFCON final on Sunday along with Mane? So interestingly, I say interestingly, depends if you find it interesting or not. But one player I've had my eye on this afternoon, who is not in that list of top owned players, but I am incredibly tempted to put in instead of Ward-Prowse from the start, is Jota, because Liverpool have got fantastic fixtures. Is it Leicester? Burnley, Norwich, and Leeds, and they have those 4 games before Southampton have the single game day. Now, if you went for Ward-Prowse, I think he's got 2 games, United and Spurs, and then I think maybe Everton.
Everton at home, yeah.
Now, I would fancy Jota to significantly, or potentially significant, in terms of, we're talking ceilings now, right? Significantly outscore them in that time with those fixtures. You could then either move him or move someone else onto Ward-Prowse or maybe Brosher, because the thing is as well with planning a captain so far in advance as well, you never know what's going to happen between then and now, right? So you're gonna, because I actually fancy Brosher, I think, ahead of Ward-Prowse, but I wouldn't want to put him in my starting team because you're not going to know
in case he doesn't play the captaincy day.
Exactly that. So that is something I'm eyeing up.
Well, when
I've
you
got the
said
budget.
earlier, I'd got like a Ward-Prowse plan.
Mm.
My plan is to have one of the expensive defenders will become Ward-Prowse or whoever on that captaincy day, and then they will turn into a Chelsea defender against Newcastle. I think it's on Sunday, March the 11th.
Okay.
So I don't need a Southampton player or a Norwich player. It could be Norwich by then. Who knows? We don't need them now. In case they're not there for the captaincy, just bring them in on that day. And then somebody said to me, well, you're not gaining a fixture. Well, I might not gain it on the way in, but I'll gain it on the way out.
Yeah. Also, as well, I'm just interested, in your thoughts. And Dan, what do you think about this? Just in terms of not just, I think it's very easy, when I do it, and everyone does it, right, to get obsessed with, I think the word is covering captaincy days, right? But is there a thing of, obviously maybe skipping some, but actually looking to attack them as well by going kind of different routes? So I use the Brosh one as an example. So people for me are going for Ward-Prowse to cover off that day, but going from their overhaul teams, their actual opening team, even though the fixtures are not good, he hasn't been playing particularly well this season. Okay, he has improved of late, but it seems to me a bit of a waste when you consider that there's a lot of other players have a lot of really good fixtures in that time. What are your kind of general thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, well, if Southampton didn't have the game against Norwich, no one would be picking him, would they? Yeah, I always try to avoid going into the trap of single game day, but then I do keep doing it. So, yeah, I just honestly don't know, mate. Like that, I don't think I wouldn't be starting with Ward-Prowse, and like I'm now thinking on the spot, like, do I want to take someone out, like a Gallagher or something like that, to bring him in? And then they got Villa after that, Watford. It's literally for that one game in it at Norwich. Like if that's a 4-pointer, you can be disappointed, aren't you? Because I ain't gonna want to really keep him. So
yeah, you can move him on to Rudiger or something, can't you?
Yeah, I suppose so. You can only use one transfer as part of a chain, but
yeah. I'll give you a reason why people are picking him, Andrew. They're the ones that have got the average transfer account, and they know if they want one, they've got to get him in now.
Maybe you're right. Yeah. And but I just think the word that the whole thing of covering a captaincy for me is, I understand it, and I do understand it, and it's sensible, but I also think it can at times be a bit too sensible. I think it's a bit of an obsession with covering captaincy days. Firstly,
well, we're all going for Pope, yeah.
We are, but they're also playing twice really quickly, aren't they? But no, it's fair enough. But and obviously Pope, you get to see the lineups with Ward-Prowse. It's what is it? It's weeks away, isn't it? But
yeah,
no, it's interesting.
I mean, for me, it's one where you pick him at the time, and if he's not in the team, you go with somebody else or skip it.
Exactly that. We've had a bit.
I think Ward-Prowse is likely to play. The one I've seen punted is Brosher, and he could play, but there's every chance he doesn't play in that game.
Yes, exactly. So by just kind of seeing it at the time, and it could also be, because Norwich have improved, right? So if Norwich keep 3 or 4,
you might want Josh Sargent.
Well, I'm not sure about Sargent, but it may be if Norwich have massively improve, it may just be a kind of skip anyway, right? Because at the moment, or maybe a month ago, you would have said it would have been a walkover. Now it's probably a hard game.
It's more
in
difficult
a month's
game.
Time,
yeah.
It could be harder again. It could be a absolute skip. Just a bit in the chat on Salah. So Laurie says might be going against the grain. I'm happy to go without Sally overhaul team just for the certainty of another player playing. And Tom Hartnell says if Salah doesn't play, Josh King would have a 4-0 with captaincy. It's just hard to get excited about Watford. We've all been burned recently with Watford, but it is, and this is the point. It's probably certainty of starts, right? So and then if you don't want to go for Pope, if you want to go for De Gea or someone else, you go for King and have a 4-0. So interesting ones then. Moving on then to Saturday, 12th of Feb. Ian and United Southampton.
Early kickoff, United Southampton. Then we got Watford Brighton, Everton Leeds, Brentford Palace, and Norwich Man City brings up the rear on the Saturday. Do we think City are going to make some changes ahead of Champions League game?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because they might.
Head scratcher that, isn't it? They could do.
What's your plan down there at the moment?
Did have Cancelo, but like you said, Champions League midweek after that. So, a bit of a concern.
Ronaldo.
What do you think of this Walker chap, banned in the Champions League, going to play every Premier League game?
Just don't know with Pep, do you? Is Zinchenko fit?
I think he's out for a while, isn't he? Zinchenko is my understanding.
Yeah, well, I think a Man City defender really, and just hope.
Yeah. I'd be tempted by Ronaldo. I think because you get to see the lineups. But yeah, I think a City defender will likely be the sensible move there. But maybe tempted by Ronaldo if there's any hint of any kind of niggle or resting or stuff like that.
Okay, so Sunday, 3 games at 2:00. Spurs, Wolves, Newcastle, Villa, Burnley, Liverpool. And then the one that you don't get to see, Leicester v West Ham. I'm fairly sure if Salah's in the side, you're going for Salah, aren't we?
He probably will be, right? You guess he plays.
I mean, Liverpool play Inter Milan on Wednesday following this. And if Salah hasn't played against Leicester, he's definitely starting or playing that game to get him up to form, isn't he? Because he won't have played in the Liverpool side since Chelsea on New Year's Day.
Yeah, I agree. Just a quick one as well. On Saturday the 12th, if you do go for the De Bruyne punt, you could actually captain him in that Norwich game. If you look at if you are looking for a differential,
would you go De Bruyne over Cancelo?
Again, it's presses and stuff. It's more if you're looking for a differential. It's more if you're looking, if you're not where you want to be and you're kind of looking, if you're actively looking and you want something to be different but could have massive upsides, that it could be an option there, I think.
Okay, fair enough.
Fergi, I need to get him a charger, mate.
You to get your charger, you go ahead.
Charge his green screen up, yeah?
Won't be a minute.
So Tuesday, Man United v Brighton. That's the single game day. Strange why that's a 8:15 kickoff. That must be BT picked it and then dropped it.
Yeah.
Because it's up against Champions League games.
What are your thoughts, Ian? What's your plan to cover that day at the moment?
I've got Ronaldo at the minute. I've also got Webster. My plan is to Ronaldo, even though I don't like him, I'd rather go for Bruno, but I can't because you can't play 5-4-1. So I'm going for Ronaldo, and then that Tottenham v Everton game, he will turn into Harry Kane.
Okay, so let's move on then to Saturday the 19th. Is a couple of days on this one. Early one is West Ham and Newcastle.
So West Ham, Newcastle, 12:30. Then Southampton, Everton, Liverpool, Norwich.
Norwich.
No brainer, that isn't it? No brainer.
It's a no brainer there. And then on Sunday the 20th. Leeds.
This is trickier.
It is.
Leeds v Man United and Wolves v Leicester.
Are you starting with Rafinha, Ian?
Yes. I'll tell you what, well, Dan's not here. I'll tell you my plan.
Go on then. Oosh.
I've got a goalkeeper, 9 million plus defenders, and Webster. Bowen and Rafinha plus one more, and Salah and Ronaldo or Kane. That is my plan.
And when you say plus one more, is that a secret or is that you?
No, it's just
it is yet.
I don't know who it is yet.
Well, mine's pretty similar, but my midfielder there, I'm going 4-3-3. I think at the moment, but it's going to be the Jota move. I think that's where I'm going to go, which is reasonably similar there. Sunday the 20th, Dan, is a tough one. Leeds and United, Wolves and Leicester. Have you got a plan for this yet?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 20th. Yeah, that is a tough game, isn't it? A tough day. Again, if you've got a Wolves player, just don't know with Leicester. That's another one. Probably Manchester United player probably is your best bet. But if, like we said, we talked about Man U before, haven't we? So I think, Man U player De Gea, Ronaldo, someone like that, really.
Maybe Rafinha, if he's...
I hate him.
Hate him? Oh, of course you have it. Yeah, you didn't have him, did you? Quick question on Villa. Someone asked, I think it was Bert, just asked about Villa assets. Obviously, they've got really nice fixtures. They don't have any captain requirements, but they do have really good.
They've got a nice run, haven't they?
They do. Ian, are you interested in any Villa assets at all?
I'm interested, but not to the extent that I've got one in the side at the minute.
I think the only one I
can't pick the right one.
I think the only one I'd be interested in is Ramsey. Did I say Watkins earlier? I meant to say Ramsey. I meant to say. I did say Ramsey. Didn't I? 5.8.
Yeah, 5.8. Yeah.
I think Ramsey might be one. I'm not sure. So I've been talking to Adam Hopcroft, off the Green Arrow, big FPL player who's a massive Villa fan, and he thinks that Ramsey is nailed in the side. He's not in the front three. He's in the midfield three. But I just think the amount of times in the first half of this season and in previous seasons when I just wish I had that extra whatever, $500,000 or even 0.1, 0.2, that extra middle whatever. I just think even if he scores 2 points every game for the remainder of this season, like I say, his job will mean I could instead of having sort of an 8.5 million midfield or defender or forward, it means I can go to Van Dijk. If Laporte gets injured, I can go to Diaz, for example, get Diaz and Stones, or I can get to De Bruyne.
That would mean you had to keep all the money in the bank though if you wanted to do that.
Well, maybe. Unless obviously you kind of daisy chain through, but it's just more as you mentioned earlier, having that 94.2 million to an average.
Yeah, that's the difference. You can make, but like Dan said earlier, I think Norgard at 6.2 is probably a better bet.
That's fair enough. I think though Ramsey does get attacking returns. I think, and I don't think he's just he's not going to get anything. I think he's got a few goals and a few assists, haven't he, recently? So I think he's quite decent, actually. He may be.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I'm just not convinced that he's worth 9% of my team.
Fair enough.
I think you spend too much time with Adam, Fergi. You'll be thinking Villa are going to finish top 4 next.
No, I'm just thinking if I go for Webster and Ramsey, I get
what you're saying, mate.
It just allows you to have not far off whoever you want in your team. And I'm not just thinking of Overhaul because it's easy to go, right, look at my Overhaul team. It's absolutely amazing. But then you get locked into these, 8.5 million, 8 million, 7.5 million players. Whereas
have you planned your team out yet, Andrew?
Roughly, and it hasn't got Ramsey.
Yeah, what's the most expensive you've been up to? I haven't got beyond 99.6 yet.
I'm 99.8 now.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm 0.2 off now.
I had a draft at 100 that included Diaz and Norgard, but there was no flexibility.
And this is the thing. So and
I didn't like it, just in case.
Anyone else from Villa? Seen shouts for Buendia, Coutinho.
Yeah, I think they're all decent players. Martinez. I mean, you could make a shout for the left back. Name escapes me at the minute.
Luca Dean.
Dean, yeah. There's no tier bonus, but clean sheets, attacking returns.
Indeed.
So we're on to Wednesday, the midweek that's been announced today, yeah?
We are. And
so Watford, Palace, Burnley, Spurs, Liverpool, Leeds on the Wednesday. It's Liverpool, isn't it?
Liverpool all the way. Then Thursday. So this is
a tricky one. This is tricky.
It's a curveball, this is.
Yeah. Arsenal, Wolves. Now, this is where I think those that are going with Pope could have a choice to make. Mm-hmm. But like I said, when we go through the other fixtures, now this is where we will know at the time is how many fixtures are going to be on the FA Cup 5th round midweek, the following midweek. So you don't have to make a decision now. You can make it then.
Okay. Who are your favourite? Dan, who would be your go-to Arsenal and Wolves play at the moment if you could only pick one of each team?
Ramsdale or Kilman.
Cool.
Not Sarr?
No, not for me, I don't think.
Okay. Either of the keepers, Gabriel or Kilman.
Yeah, there's not much else there really. I do like Saka, but I just think when you've got kind of
Bowen,
Ramsdale in that form,
Gallagher.
Gilman, who's that exactly. So yeah,
You got to think of which position they're going to take over from.
Yeah, exactly. So Ramsdale, Sarr, Kilman, maybe White or Gabriel.
And like I say, by the time we get there, we should know a bit more about what's coming later on.
Exactly. So yeah, I suppose your advice, Dorrian, to me and everyone else is not to worry about it really at the moment.
Yeah, don't worry about it now. We'll know nearer the time.
Cool.
So Friday the 25th, tricky one. We spoke about it before. This is Saints v Norwich. If you're picking one, you've sort of made your bed. You've got to go with it, haven't you?
You have.
I'm waiting till the day. I'm waiting till the day.
You are, Ewan. I'm surprised at that because
yeah, I'm waiting for the day.
Dan,
I've got transfers in hand now, Andrew.
You have. What are you doing, Dan?
I might skip it. You know, you don't want a Norwich player. Do I want? How long? You know, I just don't know. If I bring in a Ward-Prowse or Brozier, is it just for one game and then move them straight on? So
it's probably for 3, mate. Then you can get Chelsea.
Keep them for Villa, then Watford, then move on to Chelsea. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so I'm not ruling out Ward-Prowse. You know, he's on pens and everything like that in corners, and you know, but he ain't been the passing numbers and all that haven't been there, have they? So yeah, I don't know. Like Ian says, I'm going to wait till the night. I don't need to have anyone like that in now. I don't like the gate. They've got Tottenham and Man U, ain't they? So I don't really like those games. So yeah, I'll just wait till the night and see what's happening.
Yeah, I'm the same, and I think you know, as I say, if I was to pick now, so I watched Southampton play against Man City, and I thought that Brozier was absolutely superb. You know, he had that 1-on-1, scored just off, you know, elbow offside, wherever it was, just looks incredibly dangerous. And I really, really like him.
He's a good player, isn't he?
He is, and he's incredibly cheap at 6.6 as well. So there's even a thing, you know, if you let's just say for argument's sake, you know, you started with Ramsey, you know, just to see how it goes, because Villa's immediate fixtures are very, very good, and you keep a bit in the bank. You could go to, you know, Ramsey to Brozier, just as an example of, you know, of the kind of players around that price point, which are pretty.
Get the formation right. Options. You can go somewhere like Webster to him as well, can't you?
You could. You're right.
If you got the right formation.
Saturday the 26th.
So Saturday 26th, Leeds Spurs is the early game. BT finally get the way. This is the one they wanted way back in the day, and they were beaten out of it.
Yeah.
Man United v Watford, Palace v Burnley, Brighton v Villa, Brentford v Newcastle, and Everton v Man City. Now, not preempting the questions coming up, but Paul McAnulty of this parish said, which is the trickiest captaincy pick, or which is going to be the most widespread captaincy pick of any of the upcoming days? I think it might be this one. Reason being, Spurs are the early game. If you've got a Spurs player, you might want to go for it. Man United are playing at home to Watford. If you've got one of them, you might want to go for it. If you haven't got either, you can resort back to Man City in the late game.
I think for me, it comes down to form, like when it hits here, because it's very easy at the moment to know that certain teams are playing well, certain teams aren't. You know, certain teams are scoring goals. Some are very leaky at the moment, but things change an awful lot. And I think that by going for Ronaldo here, you know, you got yourself into a position where, you know, you got to think if United are playing well, scoring lots of goals against Watford, he would be an incredible option. However, if there's like, you know, an injury to someone, United just look, you know, kind of woefully out of form. Spurs are banging in goals left, right, and centre. It could be a thing, you know, you even do the switch, just as an example. But, you know, I do agree it's really, really tough. And then obviously you've got City away to Everton as well, which is a really good fixture as it stands.
Yeah, backup. Yeah.
But Everton have got a new manager, they've got loads of new players. So it's
Dele Alli, anyone?
No, not for me. But yeah, I think as it stands, I'd go for Ronaldo and I'd skip Kane. But like I say, it's very easy to say that now. Who knows how the landscape is going to be in 3 or 4 weeks' time? And let's not forget as well that there could be injuries. So just for example, if Salah goes out injured, you'd probably have Salah and Kane just as an example. So it obviously makes it much easier there, doesn't it? And then Sunday.
What do you think about Dele?
Go on,
Fergie going to Everton.
I think with you know, obviously Dele was a legend for Spurs, you know, and in Spurs, you know, in their heyday, which won very much, but back in, you know, 2018 when they had that, you know, incredible season, you know, the couple of seasons they were really good. He was absolutely superb. He's lost his way. Sad, you know. I hope it works out for him. I think him going to Everton along with Van de Beek as well does, and the change of manager. I do think someone like Calvert-Lewin short term, bear in mind their opening 3 fixtures are Newcastle, Leeds and Southampton. I think it does kind of make them a lot more enticing options than they were maybe, a couple of weeks ago personally, because there'll be a big injection of enthusiasm, right? And a big injection of, Lampard will be in there. Come on, what's going on, boys? And Calvert-Lewin will be exciting to us.
I don't think I'll pick him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got sort of a decent amount of points in Sky. Like, I think he's going to, get the odd goal or an assist. I don't know where it's now or never for him, really, isn't it? Like,
well, Everton play Brentford, right, in the FA Cup, and obviously it's after the overhaul deadline. But it'd be interesting because if Everton went and steamrolled Brentford 3 or 4-0, and Calvert-Lewin say got 2 goals and an assist with their fixture, I think we'd all be kind of queuing up to get him. But obviously it's I think it's after the deadline. I'm not sure it is actually, because it might be on the Saturday. I'll have to check that one.
One of those teams that have got 3 games still to be rearranged, Andrew.
Yeah.
So if they're going to get rearranged into March or even April, and then we've seen a bit of form, it might be one that comes in later in the season.
And you know what? It's really interesting, because I've just had a thought, which I haven't thought of until this second actually. But the deadline for that game is going to be, I think it's 4:30, isn't it? Because I think it's a 5:30. Is it a 5:30 game? Or
6 o'clock start. 6 o'clock deadline for us, though.
Okay, because we will get to see a handful of teams play on the Saturday. Premier League teams play, such as Chelsea. Okay, that doesn't really matter.
Everton's 3 o'clock.
West Ham. We're gonna get to see
West Ham's the early game, isn't it? Yeah. Man United will have played.
They will. We'll get to see Chelsea. We'll get to see West Ham. Yeah. We'll get to see Palace. Another one who I'm interested in is Edouard, because their fixtures are really good. It's just that he's just that awkward price. He's not needed for captaincy, but they've got some superb fixtures as well. And he's really on form. Everton and Brentford, Man City and Fulham, Wolves and Norwich. So they're the ones we're going to be able to see. And it's interesting because if any of these key players get injured, we're not going to have much time to actually have, a bit of a rethink.
Sorry, mate, because that Wolves v Leeds is that the Friday the 18th, yeah? So if Wolves get knocked out, they are playing Norwich. There's no
if they get knocked out, that'll be on. But that's quarter-final weekend, Dan. You've still got the 5th round to go before that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, I'll forget that then.
But I suppose it's interesting, just in terms of you get to see almost like half or more of what's going to happen in the future, and obviously we're not going to.
You'll only know if it's a bad injury, though, won't you?
I mean more around kind of fixture blanks as well. You'll know what injuries, and
you won't know anything about the fixtures because the draw won't be made.
Oh, the draw won't be made, of course. Yeah, good point, Ian. Well done. But yeah, say Bowen gets a niggle against Kidderminster.
Kidderminster, yeah.
Cancelo comes off limping in the 75th minute. It's going to be a pretty hairy afternoon, isn't it? And John just said it would totally be this season for highly owned player to get injured right before the deadline. Absolutely.
I'm going to be snookered because I'm going to Murrayfield to watch the rugby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sunday the 27th, West Ham and Wolves.
Yeah, West Ham Wolves. Bowen, I imagine.
Bowen done. Yeah.
I think at the moment, and then on to Saturday the 5th of March.
5th of March. So early game: Leicester v Leeds. Then 3 o'clock: Wolves, Palace, Norwich, Brentford, Newcastle, Brighton, Burnley, Chelsea, Villa, Southampton, Liverpool, West Ham. Ooh, what a grim set.
I think it's got to be Liverpool.
Salah, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think it is Salah. Sunday the 6th.
Watford, Arsenal, Man City, Man United. If you've bought Ramsdale, there's a scope for some captaincy there, I imagine.
Yeah, especially as you don't see the lineups for Man City, Man United, do you? But no, I don't know. I think
but the midweek coming after this is FA Cup, so it'll be full strength, I imagine.
Yeah,
because if Man City and Man United are in the FA Cup, they'll be playing on the Wednesday or the Thursday. They won't be playing Tuesday.
Good point. And then Monday the 7th, Spurs and Everton.
This is Harry Kane in, isn't it?
Harry Kane time, is it?
Kane day.
A Ronaldo to Kane.
I think so. That's my plan.
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, tricky. I don't like the Spurs have got Man U the week after. But
Man U defensively are bloody rubbish for it. Let's not forget.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yes,
probably
not just a 1 week, not just a 1 week move though, is it?
No, that's true. Yeah, Ronaldo's Kane makes sense, doesn't it? Ronaldo out after Man City the day before. So
Yeah.
Especially as Man U got Spurs, then Liverpool after that, and then Leicester.
Well, that Liverpool game will almost certainly be off because that's FA Cup quarter-final weekend, and they both need to lose in the 4th or 5th round for that game to be on.
Liverpool are home to Cardiff. I can't see that happening.
So they'll be in the 5th round, you would think. Man United are at home to Middlesbrough, isn't it?
I think they're away to Middlesbrough. I think
is it? Okay.
A harder game, I think, than Liverpool.
They'll still win, I imagine.
Saturday the 12th, Ian.
Saturday the 12th, let's just get this up. So this is Brighton-Liverpool. Same Moa, I imagine. If Salah's in the team, I think we're going to go with him.
Yeah.
Southampton-Watford, Leeds-Norwich, Everton-Wolves, Brentford-Burnley, Man United-Spurs. Yeah, it's Liverpool there, isn't it?
Sunday the 13th. So this is West Ham Villa, but it's also the start of Chelsea's run.
This is Chelsea in. This is Chelsea in. And at least one, possibly two, maybe three.
Wow, you think
they're going to have more fixtures now?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the only downside is you've only got like another week until it's international break. But I think Chelsea will play they'll play midweek before this as well. I think because the midweek after this is their Champions League week. Okay. So the midweek before is their Champions League week off, and I think they might get a fixture in there.
And in which case you'd stick them in then?
Oh, you probably would because it'd be a single game day.
Who from Chelsea, Dan? So obviously, when we have the pylon back onto Chelsea, who would be the 2 or 3 players you would be piling in on?
Looking at that, so I know then this is why I then struggle because the FA Cup weekend won't going to happen, is it? But the fixtures as they are, if they stay, so it'd be Newcastle, Norwich, Brentford, Southampton, Leeds. Where you think, cool, you'd love a Lukaku if he was scoring goals, wouldn't you? But
yeah, there's only one of those that's in danger, and that's the FA Cup weekend.
So yeah, but unless Lukaku starts scoring some goals, but I doubt him. You're probably looking at a defender, aren't you?
3 at the back, isn't it?
Yeah,
maybe Mendy as well.
Who'd you take out though, out of City and Liverpool and Webster? If we're
taking them out for fixtures, aren't you?
Okay, but
quantity.
Okay, so but if we're talking maybe Laporte, Cancelo, Trent, right? Who are you taking out of that?
The fourth cog in the wheel.
The fourth cog, brilliant. and maybe Mendy, yeah.
Mendy, yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, you could be looking at their midfielders then, couldn't you? Kovacic was good when he was playing.
He was excellent.
Jorginho back on pens, maybe.
And Lukaku, as Dan says, if he finds his shooting boots, he could be a really.
He needs to look in another team's dressing room for them.
He does. Monday the 14th, then Palace away to Man City.
So whoever you've got, you'll see the lineup.
Yeah, and Gallagher,
and then
or Man City players, obviously.
Yeah, you see the lineup, and then this weekend, Dan. This is the FA Cup quarter-final weekend.
Yeah.
So Wolves v Leeds. If Wolves are in the quarterfinals, this will be off. The only game that's guaranteed at the minute is the BT game, Villa v Arsenal. All the rest are in danger.
And Wolves have got Norwich this weekend.
Yeah, there's 5th round to come as well, Andrew, don't forget. Yeah. So they'll be in the 5th round if they beat Norwich, but it all depends on who they draw in the next round.
Of course, okay. But
we'll see that. And then the matches that precede this are the midweek at the start of March. So you'll know by then which games are on and which are off.
Okay, cool. But even if
following this is an international break,
even if it is on, a lot of people have Rafinha, you would guess, regardless. And a couple may have moved on to Sarr or Kilman.
Well, I think people have moved on to Sarr or Kilman when they know whether this game's on.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool. And then Saturday the 19th then?
Saturday the 19th, Villa v Arsenal, that'll be on. The rest are all in danger. There's not another guaranteed game to be played.
Wowee, okay.
And both on Sunday are in danger. I would be surprised if either of the Sunday games are on.
Okay,
I really would.
Ramsey captain then for Villa against Arsenal by the look of it.
Yeah, Ramsdale, mate.
Oh yeah, Ramsdale, of course. If you're on Ramsdale, yeah, obviously.
But that'll be a thing when we get to those fixtures. If you know that game's the only one that's on, or there's a fair chance you can get Ramsdale in on that Thursday, thinking he'll be your captain even this far ahead.
Wow, you've certainly fried my brain, Ian, in a good way, but you've also given me a lot of comfort in the fact that don't have to be thinking at this point around that, Arsenal and Wolves and stuff, because we can just take it at the time. Southampton as well, even, we do it at the time. So I don't know how open you guys wish to be, but I'm happy to kind of run through my draft at the moment. So my draft at the moment, it hasn't changed. That if anything, it's made me feel a bit better about my team now. Just talking through that, but I'm going for Pope in goals. I've gone Laporte, Cancelo, Trent, and Webster. Nothing too outlandish there. And then going for Rafinha, Bowen, and Gallagher. Nothing too outlandish there. And I'm going Salah and Ronaldo. Now, this 11th spot, I did have on Rodri for a bit. I did have on Ward-Prowse for a bit. But I think I'm going to go for Jota. Because, like I say, I think that 11th spot is a place where it's not obvious. I think a lot will be using that for Ward-Prowse, which, I think I can get a bit of a march on them there, maybe, if...
Well, those 4 Jota games instead of 3 Ward-Prowses is probably beneficial, I would say.
I think so, and that's what I go at. And then I can also move on to Ward-Prowse or Brosher
from there,
from Jota maybe, or kind of wherever it happens at the time. But I've got to be honest, I haven't really thought much further than that. Obviously Ronaldo to Kane was fairly obvious. You mentioned here maybe on the 7th of March. Keeper change, I haven't really thought of yet either. In all honesty, and it's mainly
I just looked at the fixture quantities there.
Yeah, it's mainly the one on the keeper side is the fact that Burnley have got 20 games to play. Pope is probably at the moment the only real option from that team, and there will likely for me be Burnley single game days later on. And what I don't want to do is kind of hop around the waste transfers. I'd rather use them elsewhere. But that's my very, very loose thoughts at the moment. Dan, I know you mentioned at the start that you're really not set because obviously all the fixtures landed earlier. What are your current sort of thoughts? Have you got any kind of nailed on in your team, or have you got anyone in your team who you think it's a bit of a risk or anything?
I think I'll have 8 the same as what you had. Yeah, I really need to have a look at it tomorrow when I'm at work, just to go through it again, really, and see how I can work things into bring in Ramsdale or something like that if I want to. But I'd say that the top 20 owned players, like, I'm probably going to end up at least having 10 of those. I just think it's just how I go with it. Like I put a 4-5-1 on the hub, just the well-owned players and stuff, like just to show what you can make out of a template team. And I quite like the look of that, just having Salah up top.
Who was the 5 in midfield there, Dan?
I think it was Rafinha, Gallagher, Bowen, Ward-Prowse. I can't remember the other one now. That was on the article. Tielemans, because I was thinking about that Saturday or the Sunday the 20th if I wanted some Leicester. But that was just I'd picked a team out of the top 20.
I think Tielemans will be popular, but it'll be April and May.
Yeah, so I had him, and then I think I even had Laporte, Diaz, Cancelo, I want to say, and then Trent maybe, and then Pope, and that was all like in budget. Obviously, only just with Salah, because I just I had Kane before, didn't do nothing for me. Ronaldo didn't. I had Lukaku, Kane, and Ronaldo at the start, just weren't doing it. So therefore, I just want. But I normally don't like to have a 4-5-1. You are pretty. I don't know. The value is obviously not in the midfielders, is it? So I don't know really, but I'm probably going to have 8. I'm probably going to have a pretty template team and hope my transfers can do the work for me later on. I don't really need to go for differentials and stuff like that. So I think just pick safe and like Paul does, and that'll be about it really.
It sounds like kind of later on into April and May, it sounds like we're going to have a lot of Leicester, Arsenal, and Chelsea players by the sound of it, doesn't it? Ian, what are your current plans for what you're willing to share?
Yeah, I'll give you my plan. I've got a goalkeeper,
Fantastic. It's always a good start.
I think it'll be Pope, but the plan will be to move him on.
Okay.
I'm going to have 4 9 million plus defenders, plus Webster. Yeah. Cancelo and Trent will be 2 of them. In midfield, I'm going for 3. It'll be Bowen and Rafinha plus 1.
So you're not completely sold on Gallagher yet?
I like Gallagher, but I've also got a plan with Norgard.
Okay, fair enough.
Gallagher obviously is going to miss the Chelsea game, but he's so good and so good value and so highly owned. I think it's worth having him in, even if he is going to miss it. And up front, I'm going to have Salah and probably Ronaldo with the move to Kane.
So just what you said there, interesting enough, actually. I think that Gallagher to Norgard would allow me to go Jota to Van Dijk, to go a 5-3-2, just as an example. So
well, my example was Walker to Diaz.
Yeah, and they're big upgrades, aren't they? You know, it's interesting there. Would Gallagher outscore Norgard enough?
Especially with a game less.
Yeah, with a game less. Interesting there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be doing my final plans on the train up to Crewe and then up to Haymarket on Saturday.
And then they'll all be ruined because they'll all get injured in the FA Cup.
Yeah, and I won't know anything about them. You can guarantee it, yeah.
Okay. We've got a few questions before we wrap up. Glenroy, is Threemium back on the radar? She mentioned it earlier. It's going to be hard for most of us, but I suppose, Ian, with your transfers, do you think you can see yourself?
I wouldn't need it with my transfers.
You won't need it with yours.
I'll only have 2 at a time with my transfers. I can manoeuvre them around. The chances of the 3 of those playing on the same day are slim.
Dan, any designs on going for the big 3 up front?
Had them at the start, mate, and frustrating more than anything. So I can't see it unless they start banging in 2, 3 goals like each weekend. So no, I don't think so. Okay.
FF Thinker, purely on defensive fixtures, would you prefer? So I'm going to read these out. So first, playing against Man United, Man United, Tottenham, Liverpool, Watford, Brighton, or Brighton, Villa, Burnley, Palace, West Ham. And if the answer is B, should we be looking at, Ian knows already, look, he knows already, should we be looking at Foster over Pope, given we see the teams and his previous Hodgson hookup? So, well, Ian likes Foster, so he's nodding his head.
I'm tempted. Probably won't happen because I'll be ownership based. But I'll give you a stat on Hodgson. Wins 1 game in 3, usually 1-0.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Dan, have you got any interest in Watford, keeper under Hodgson?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to go down. Not for me. Like you said, they ain't kept a clean sheet in about 4 years. So
in 6 managers, apparently.
6 managers.
6 managers in the Premier League.
Yeah, 6 managers since they've kept a clean sheet.
Unbelievable.
Hodgson to break the duck.
Staying on Watford, Shane White says, outside the box, but could Dennis be a possible shout? Even though he misses 1 game, he is so cheap and the 5th highest points striker in the game. I think while Hodgson,
Dennis to Brosher, Andrew,
it could be, but while Hodgson may have the effect that you want from Foster, historically he's going to have the opposite effect on the attacker, then, isn't he? He's going to be.
He'll get him on the bench, won't he?
It's going to be 0-0s and 1-0s. Maybe
is Deeney still at Watford? He's a Hodgson type of player.
Maybe you're right. Oh, he's at Birmingham, is he? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he's gone.
I
won't be having Watford. I'll tell you why.
Go on.
Time. Because I will go on Twitter because that's obviously the source for all your football info. Or when Watford posted anything about Dennis or whatever back in training, you had like all the sort of Nigerian people were like, they've cursed the club, they're going to get relegated, bad juju, stuff like this because they wouldn't let him go. So they've all cursed the club. So I'm not going near Watford because I say Dennis captain, he got sent off, and I think curse is real, ain't happening. So I'm avoiding them. I don't need that in my life.
Julian Ward asks, given the fixtures just dropped and every possibility extra fixture will be put in as Sky Game Week 29 to 32, what % of our remaining transfer count would you roughly advise using pre-international break and then the final running? Which is a really, really
good question, Julian. I wonder where he gets this kind of stuff from. He's in a WhatsApp group of mine.
There we go. So we know. So I'll answer on behalf of Paul. So he answered this on Monday, and he said that he's planning on going roughly to the one transfer per game week sort of route. Ian, you've got a very different method, haven't you?
Of my transfers, I've got planned 20% up until the international break. I'll be leaving 80% for after it.
So you're going to have roughly between 18 and 20.
I'm going to have about 20 transfers in April.
Absolutely fantastic. Dan, what about you? For the final run-in.
Well, I'm less technical. I think one a week, like Paul said. So whatever that equates to be, I think I'm going to start using some of mine because I want to get up the leaderboard a bit. So I haven't got a set figure in mind, but as long as it's sort of one a week and I'm above the average, I'm happy with that, really.
Yeah, what was the last average? Wasn't it like, I think it was 14.6?
14, wasn't it?
Yeah. Gone up, hadn't it? Because it had gone up the week before from about 13.8 to 14, then it's gone 14 to 14.6. So as long as I'm above that for top 100 and top 10, I'll be happy enough to, get into the top 100.
I think I've changed the way I play fantasy a little bit in the last year or two, and it's mainly because of the change I've made in Telegraph. In Telegraph historically, you don't really tend to change one player to one player. You focus on blocks of games, and and using the Man City example last year was when there was that wholesale change. Nothing to do with captaincy. It was jumping on a team that you're very confident are going to have a spanking and going to reap a lot of points, in a shortish space of time, and I think that I've done that to varying degrees so far in Sky this season. Obviously, because the fixtures are not so obvious for big shifts, I think this is the time I'm going to do it now. This year I'm going to use the odd one, move over to maybe get Southampton player, maybe get Kane, but I think I'm going to do this.
If you're looking at that now, Andrew, then the big at the back with Liverpool for those 4 games, that's the one, isn't it?
It is. Well,
Leicester, Burnley, Norwich, Leeds.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, or maybe doing it with Jota as well. So I'll have like 4 Liverpool and 2 Man City. But I'm going
to have a look at that Jota shout. I like that. I'm going to see if that fits into my plan, because those 4 games, especially if Salah and Mane aren't playing the first one,
exactly,
and you think they won't play too much of the second one.
So. I think I'm going to kind of flip my team almost, at certain points. You said jump on Chelsea, for example. I'm going to maybe, as you say,
March the 11th.
3 Chelsea players, and then look at when Leicester suddenly, because there are rumours of Leicester potentially having 3 or 4 games inside a week or two, right?
Leicester will be having a lot of games at the end of the season. I can see teams that have got a lot of transfers left are going to have maybe Schmeichel, Justin, Tielemans, and
Maddison and Vardy.
Close your ears down, Vardy or Daka or Iheanacho, whoever it might be. Because if they're playing 5 games in the last 2 weeks and everybody else is playing 2 or 3, exactly. No brainer, isn't it?
Exactly.
No brainer.
And they will have 4 and 5 for ones over certain teams who may have who are kind of on the beach, but also when players get injured with a game or 2 left, they're kind of out for the season, right? So they're not going to play any more games. So if even if like Diaz gets injured in game week 36, he's going to be out for 2 weeks. He's out for the season, right? So
somebody else can come in and play 4 more games, can't they?
Exactly. So and there's Arsenal as well. To maybe kind of a lesser degree, but I'm going to try and play my transfers in chunks rather than I find when I try and be too intricate, it always seems to backfire. And in Telegraph, I've always done really well in Telegraph. It's because I jump on a period of time rather than individual games. So anyway, that's just,
maybe the way to look at it for our game then is look up to that FA Cup quarter-final week. So you've got the fixtures that are there now.
Yeah.
Then there's a 2-week international break, and then have another look for April and May.
Yeah. Exactly, and I think I'm going to do that. For reasons unknown, asks what is the best Sky FF formation post Overhaul. So I'm currently 4-4-2 with Salah as my only premium striker. So Ian, you mentioned you're probably 5 at the back at the moment.
Yeah, I'm 5-3-2. I think 4-4-2 is probably the best if it makes it work for you, because you can go to any other formation from there.
So I'm currently 4-3-3, but I could do that. What was it? Gallagher to Norgard, and I think that allows me to upgrade Jota to Van Dijk. So I might do that. Just an example in my B team, 5-3-2. Dan, what's your formation thoughts?
I've had I took a few screenshots today, and I had everything, mate. I had a 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Honestly, don't know. I don't know. Won't be able to tell you till tomorrow. Want to have another look at it. Just depends. Like,
what we need, Andrew, is somebody to create a 6-3-1. That'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Would be
Or even
5-4-1.
what's the formation we can't have now? Can't think.
5-4-1.
5-4-1. That would be the one, wouldn't it? 5-4-1.
Ashley asks, are we all being blinded by Burnley's single game day with Pope? Is De Gea a better option with the better fixtures? So I think you mentioned earlier, Dan, didn't you, that you may be tempted by going with De Gea and maybe Weghorst instead of Pope?
Yeah, if you don't want to have Ronaldo, you don't trust him, and is he going to play every game? I don't know. Yeah, then do that Weghorst and just have De Gea. Like, Pope at the minute has only got the one single game day, and yes, he could have some more later on, but you can deal with that as and when. Like, don't forget Burnley got to play Man U, Liverpool, Spurs, like Chelsea in the first sort of 7 or 6 games. So.
I think those that are going with Pope, yes, they want the captaincy on the first day, and I think there's a lot there that are thinking there's 20 fixtures, I'll bang him in, I don't need to move him ever again.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll start with him as well, because that game against Watford, obviously Dennis is banned. Watford just lost, was it 3-0 to Norwich? They've just got Hodgson in, who's a very defensive manager. All he's going to want is a clean sheet, right? That's all he's going to want is a clean sheet. So I think there's a lot of reasons why we're going for Pope. It's not just because it just so happens to fall as a single game day. I think there's a lot for it, and there's, if he does end up getting an 18-pointer or 22-pointer, whatever it is, because it's the only
start,
game,
isn't it?
It's a good start, and it's the only game until the Tuesday. So if you don't have him, and that does happen, which happened to me a couple of seasons ago. Remember at the end of the season, was it last year, the year before, when Pope was banging in clean sheets like nobody's business?
And you missed the Henderson to Pope move.
And I missed that move, and I also missed someone too. Was it Sarr at Wolves? I think you were on it, Dan. End of last season, and
we did Patricio.
No, that's it. But the Patricio, and I didn't do that. And it's only a single game, but it's 22-pointer.
We all couldn't do.
It hurts.
Pope, could we? Because we'd all run out of transfers or something. But we knew Pope was going to get a clean sheet.
That was the year that I flew up to 60th in the end, and I'd done that Henderson to Pope.
It was,
and
it hurts, and you don't want to be 20 points down straight after Overhaul with 3 days.
Paul said on your Monday pod, didn't he? Sort of said if Pope's going to be, well, he's gone up a bit. I can't remember the ownership now, but he's in like 35-40% of teams. So if he's 20 points down on Saturday, he's gonna be pretty gutted he didn't make the move. So.
Yeah, I like Paul's point on the pod on Monday about keeper transfers as well. Did it say something like 8 of the top 20 players were keepers? There's no harm in moving a keeper around if you want to.
It was actually 5 of the top 15 as well. It was right. A lot. There's a lot up there. There was, yeah. So
if you can get those fixture swings, I mentioned it earlier. If that Wolves Leeds game goes ahead, you can do Pope, Sarr, then Ramsdale. You're getting a lot of keeper games there for 2 moves.
And historically, so Luke Wilson, who listens to this, who I do the Telegraph pod with, he's done some, historic Premier League research, and what he found over the years was there was quite a lot of clean sheets at the start of the season, in the first third. Then in the middle third, there's lots and lots of goals and not as many clean sheets. But then in the final third, you tend to get more clean sheets again. And I think we've probably seen that, right? You can use the Chelsea team as a prime example, and Man City, in all fairness. I think both of those teams have done exactly that, haven't they? But as it gets tighter at the end, and really thin teams.
Teams at the top of the league are happy with the 2-0 win.
Exactly.
Teams at the bottom of the league are happy with the 2-0 defeat. It doesn't affect the goal difference.
Or they're happy
with playing each other. They're happy with the 0-0.
Exactly that. And also, the teams with massive squads they can just outrun and outplay the teams down the bottom. They've only got really thin squads at the end of the season. Yeah. So no, it is. I think I think rotating the keepers is quite a fair, move there. Question from Brian. Struggling with Arsenal, Wolves, single game day, how best to solve it? I think we answered that earlier, just
wait till it happens.
Wait till it happens, because we'll know a lot more. And not just about the fixtures, but like I say, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I'm a big,
the teams
thing of how the teams are playing at the time as well. And you get to see the lineups. So yeah, it could be at that point, right, that Wolves defensively are just absolutely fallen apart, for example, and you're stuck with Kilman or Sarr in your team because they were good at this moment in time. Luther Valentine, Kane, Ronaldo and Salah too much. I think we've answered that one already. Ashley also asked about Southampton plan for the single game day. I think all three of us are probably going to wait until the time. Liam Dorrian, Walker banned for 3 Champions League games, should be nailed for Premier League. Dan, what do you think about Walker?
Yeah, I think he's 9 million. So, yeah. Like I said, if you want to go for a City block and that, you can get him in at that price, can't you? So you could have Laporte, Cancelo, Walker. They keep a few clean sheets, you're after a flyer. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Obviously, you never know with Pep, don't you? I think Zinchenko might be out, isn't he, or something like that.
I thought he was out for a few weeks.
Yeah, so yeah, it seems sensible. I know they had fallen out, didn't they, before Pep and Walker, but I think they're all right now, or I don't know. But yeah, 9 million, plays for Man City in defence. He's obviously not as good as Laporte, but it'd be decent pick still.
You wouldn't pick him instead of Laporte, would you? You'd pick him alongside, I imagine.
Yeah.
And Tom Hartnell says, no, he's my secret.
Just quickly before you move on there,
go on,
Andrew.
Yeah.
Walker, Ward-Prowse, Rudiger.
That's your switch, is it? That's your daisy chain.
That could easily be a chain.
Nice. I like that. I'm still not bothered for Ward-Prowse. I'm just a bit I don't know. I can't get excited. And Tom Hartnell says that Walker was his secret differential, not so secret anymore. Glenn says that he likes 4-3-3 to start off with because you can go anywhere from 4-3-3, which is a really good point. From 4-4-2, he says, for example, because you can't obviously go to 5-4-1, but from 4-3-3 you can move to any formations. That's a really good point there. I think I'm starting on that one actually, so we're happy with that. Paul McNulty, which calendar day in the short term do you think will have the biggest captaincy split? I think you answered this earlier.
Yeah, 26th of February, I think. That's Saturday. Tottenham in the early kickoff at Leeds. Man United at home to Watford. And Man City away in the late kickoff to Everton. I think there might be a bit of a split there.
What do you think about that early one? Was it Wolves and Leicester early doors?
And Leeds, Man United. That's on a Sunday, 3rd Sunday in February, I think, 20th,
20th,
is it? Yeah.
Might see a split there, maybe. Ronaldo, De Gea, Rafinha, Tielemans. Maybe if people are going for Kilman.
I don't think anybody will have Tielemans.
No, you don't think? He's in Dan's team, isn't he?
Yeah, I might have him.
I didn't
have him at the start of the season when he was getting loads of points in. I remember being annoyed.
I think he'll come late, Tielemans.
And Brian Packham, final question. Name your top 3 enablers and top 3 potential explosive differentials.
Go on, while you have a think, Dan. 3 enablers. Defender, Kilman. Midfielder, Norgard. Striker, Brosher.
Wow.
Differentials. Defender, Dunk, 2.2%. Midfielder, Cornet, 5.3%. Differential striker, Son, 4.9.
Could tell you've prepped for this one, Ian. Dan,
every once in a while, mate.
I hope you've done a similar amount of research, Daniel.
Yes, so my research was the same 3 enablers. I think I can't really see past Kilman, Norgard, Brosher. You
Ramsey,
call him Brosher, didn't you?
I chucked Ramsey in there. Honestly, I think you might go on my B team, maybe. I don't know.
Not for me. Not Villa. And that's for different. I don't know. Had to see Weghorst to see what his ownership is. Dele Alli are just. It's more on hope and sort of 5 years ago than anything else. But he could do something. I don't know. Last year, we had Lingard, Iniacho. I'm waiting for someone like that to jump out, but
they hadn't arrived yet, Dan, had they? They didn't come till end of March.
Yeah, that was later on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there'll be someone like that. Someone who you're not. I don't know. Is Van der Beek going to start getting some tackle and passing bonus and stuff like that, and chipping in with an assist or a goal or so. So I don't know really. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Weghorst is the only one I'm thinking of starting with, and just for 2 games, then move him on. But I don't know. But that would be for Salah, keeps the money back. But if Salah's not back for Leicester, I don't want to keep Weghorst for against Liverpool, because then Liverpool playing the same day, so that wouldn't work. So
I think Andrew's KDB suggestion for Salah is a good one there.
Yeah,
I like the Jota move as well.
Hang on a minute, you're going through my bloody list now, Ian. You've had your chance. I'm
Go on then.
I'm gonna go through quickly. So I think for Villa, I think Villa have got Leeds, Newcastle, and Watford first 3. So I think Coutinho for me, maybe a good one. I know Luke on Scout quite fancies Buendia as well. I think for Burnley, I agree with Cornet. I think he could be a really good, especially his class as a midfielder as well. I think he's good. For Palace, I mentioned him earlier. I think Edouard. So they start off with Norwich, Brentford, Chelsea, and Watford. So 3 of those 4 are really good. His stats are really good. He's scored, I think it's 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 or 6 games or whatever. So I think he could be a really good one. Mentioned him earlier, Everton, Calvert-Lewin start off with Newcastle, Leeds, Southampton. That's only if obviously we get that kind of Lampard bounce and stuff.
I think he's injured.
Yeah,
Calvert-Lewin.
I was just thinking Calvert-Lewin.
Oh, I saw yesterday.
Been injured, training. The bubble on Twitter or whatever is quite a big Everton account.
Tim Barry said it as well, didn't he? He's an Everton fan.
Rondon? No, I'm only joking. So for Liverpool, Jota for me is probably, I think he's a good one. I think he'll play against
Leicester. What price is he?
9.4.
4, yeah.
So he's quite a decent price.
That's Laportish.
It is Laportish. Well, I had Ward-Prowse and I thought, what? And I was just having a look at the fixtures, and I was like, I could get a Jota here instead of Ward-Prowse, and that to me was a bit of a no-brainer. But anyway,
that 5-3-2 might be a 4-3-3.
It could be. Man City, De Bruyne, as I mentioned earlier, and Diaz as well. He's not going to be as highly owned. As
it was 26%, weren't he, Dan? Something like that.
I think that's quite.
Diaz.
I think that's quite low.
I can't remember now.
I think stacking up on a City or Liverpool or City and Liverpool defence could be absolutely. You get off to an absolute
three of each.
Yeah,
7 games in February.
You get off to an absolute flyer with that. And just working down, no one else there really. Maybe West Ham. We've all been burnt, but they do start off with Watford, Leicester, and Newcastle.
You're not going with 2 though, are you?
No. But Antonio, if you're just looking for a differential, Benrahma's back, so I wouldn't be going for Lanzini because I think he only came in, and I'd be concerned about Fornals, who's lost his place recently as well. But Antonio, maybe, just because he plays up front in a free scoring team against some poor defenses. So they
fair enough.
A few I'd go for there. But and I think that is probably it. We're not going to go through the league because we did all that. But good point by John L. Actually, he said manager comments on Cornet were worrying. His minutes might be managed because obviously he's been to AFCON, haven't he? So I think the manager earlier said that they may manage his minutes. And Laurie just says problem with Ward-Prowse is that when you decide to put him in your team, he does nothing. When you get rid of him, he scores. Yeah, he kind of did that. I know Serge off Planet FPL.
It's like the Vardy syndrome, yeah.
It's one of those. It's one of those. But that is it from us, I think, gents. Thank you so much for joining me. What was it, an hour and 50 minutes? But hopefully it has been entertaining, and hopefully it's been informative, and hopefully we have helped everyone make their overhaul plans and kind of finalise their teams. Obviously, the fixtures dropping this morning massively helped.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
it was. It was quite fortunate, wasn't it? Because
hey, Fergie.
Yeah,
I've got a moan for you.
Oh, hang on. I gotta lead you in. Dan, what's upset you this week?
Sky have upset me. Right? I know that I batter them all the time on Twitter and stuff. Yes, so they only tweet out they have tweeted out the average transfer made in each week, aren't they? For the last 3 weeks, they're useless though, aren't they? They don't do any podcasts, any articles. We have to do it all for them, right? So now the third team, so they scrapped the Knockout Cup, which was a bit of fun, wasn't it? So they scrapped that. It used to be a grand for winning that. So the cup don't even exist. Got rid of that. Now they still give you a third team, but you can't join any leagues with it. And you can't win because I think they did it once. You could win 10 grand if you won the half season league.
Yeah, second half league.
Here you go, boys and girls. Here's a third team. Well, what's the bloody point in it if you can't do anything with it? What, we've had to get Frank to, he's going to create a league so Tim can do his half season league. I think Tim asked him, how come you're not doing leagues anymore? They're like, no, we never did.
No, we never did them.
What are you talking about? That annoys me. And the gas and electric going up to about $5,000 a year annoys me, but I ain't got time for that.
I just had to pay. I just had to pay my bill because we switched providers. We were one of those who provider went bust, so we hadn't paid a bill for like 2 months or 3 months, whatever it was. We just had our bill through this week, and it was over £500 for 3 months. I was like, what? And apparently it's going up now. It's going to be £150 a month for the foreseeable. Now I don't know what it's like in Norwich, is it?
We're on coal.
Rugby you live in? Is it Rugby you live in?
Rugby, yeah.
Rugby, yeah. I don't know what it's like there, but £150 a month, and apparently it's going up another. What was it? 50% in April or something again? Will you pay over £200 a month for gas?
I'll go around all the time electric. Now. Get that light off. It's like, do we need the heat? I can't wait for it to get warmer. Yeah. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, you're dressing down on.
Did I read somewhere today? I might have got this wrong because I was very, very busy at work and I was trying to do all of this stuff for the pod tonight. But did I read somewhere that we're going to get £200 in October off your bill?
I can't remember hearing that.
Yeah, Richie Sunak said something.
But then every 5 years in October after that, they're going to put £40 on your bill. I thought, what's the point?
It's bizarre, yeah, and you can tell. I think all three of us then got quite shrill because it's absolutely ridiculous. It's
crazy,
but anyway, absolutely crazy. Dan, the question that everyone wants to know though is your window cleaner still calling you Sam?
No, he calls me Dan now.
Does he?
Which is all right. Yeah, so I don't know, just by luck. I'm paying by bank transfer, so whether it comes up like D Cox, he must have thought. But he does, when he texts me now, he does put Dan, be around tomorrow. I went, okay, lovely. So he's all right. Hadn't fell out with a neighbour. The guy I did fall out of down the school's moved away, so that's the result. Yeah, I think it's about it, mate. Ain't upset anyone else, so it's all good.
All those.
I'll tell you what, actually, do you know? I was walking home from work yesterday. Someone's still got the tree up, Christmas tree. 1st of Feb. Well, day before yesterday. I couldn't believe that. Oh. Anyway, I need to go to bed.
Should we just play? I've got your Easter rant still just kind of saved here. Should we just play it quickly? It's only. Do you remember your Easter rant from last year?
No, but play it.
And I did the video. Can't remember it. I'll play it. I'll play it for everyone because it's still sat here, so I'll just play it. But this was Dan's. It's nearly a year old now, right? It's like 9 months old. This was Dan's Easter rant for last year. We'll have a bit of a reminisce, a bit of nostalgia. Here we go.
Easter, yeah. That's fucking getting a joke nowadays, right? My missus, she wanted an Easter tree, yeah? Like hang eggs on it and all this sort of shit. An Easter tree, never heard of it. Used to just do like an Easter egg hunt or something, Easter eggs. Now people are sending my kids fucking gifts, cards. That's fucking crazy. How our man popped round, he bought a cake, an Easter cake. And we had kids come round, knocking today for fucking mini eggs and shit. Like trick-or-treaters. It's fucking gone mad.
I'm just going to ask you all for a Six Nations prediction when we go back on, Andrew.
We are back on now, Ian. Hope you will enjoy that.
So who do you fancy for the Six Nations then?
You know what? I don't even like as bad as it sounds. Being a proud Welshman, I don't even watch the rugby. I say I don't watch it. I go to the pub just for a drink, but I don't massively enjoy it. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay. I fancy France.
I'll have to say Wales.
I think France will win. Yeah. Anybody that can put 20 odd points on the All Blacks over the autumn is a decent side.
Dan, who do you think?
New Zealand, Australia, South Africa.
No.
You tell you don't get out much.
People are
England.
loving. People are loving the
Well,
Easter.
we've got a very young side out on Saturday. Very young side.
Glenn Murray says Scotland to pump England. It's going to be interesting.
I hope not. I'm going to the game.
Oh, you're going, are you? Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier. It's going to be interesting as well with Scotland and Wales because they could meet in the World Cup qualifier final for their group if they win their respective semi-finals in March. Just a quick plug, just while we're on as well, just while I remember, February the 19th, which is still a couple of weeks away, I think, is it? Yeah, it's still a couple of weeks ago. Saturday, February the 19th, a few of us are meeting up in Bristol. I'll be going. I was going to pop in for an hour or two until Paul messaged to say I'm flying down and I've booked a hotel. So I'm now staying for the day and the night by the look of it. But if anyone is interested,
I'd love to, but I'm away that weekend.
Yeah, it's been on Twitter and stuff. It's not like a private.
We've been booked to be away for a while.
Okay, all right.
Going to see ELO.
Oh wow, fantastic! Oh, you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, up in Liverpool. Yeah,
there you are. That's well.
And we're going around Anfield as well. Sarah's really looking forward to it.
I did Stamford Bridge last weekend. Really enjoyed it.
Good.
Absolutely fantastic. Really, I love the tours. I take my sons, and we always have a really good time. Anyway, we're going off piece. It's time for bed. We're an hour and 57 now. Dan's nodding. Dan's
Got to
shattered.
be up at 6.
Got to be up at 6.
Laptop's run out of battery twice.
You need a laptop upgrade, mate.
Thank you both so much, obviously, for joining us this week. Absolutely fantastic to have you back on. Really enjoyed, and
loved it.
I've got no doubt that we will have plenty more before the season end. Ian, where can people find you?
You can find me. I do the fixture planners, transfer planners for the Hub, Sky and Telegraph and Sun Dream Team. Cool. You see me on Twitter at PlanItSky.
And you're very probably looking at the winner of Sky FF for this year. I'm going to put my money on you this year, Ian. With your current rank and transfer count, I think you're going to be hard to
You're
beat.
upset, Paul.
Paul, well, actually, yeah, it's just the transfer count is the only thing. I think it'd be very tight. Dan, who's also having a good season yet again, heading for what is it, the 4th or 5th straight 100 finish, Dan, something like that, I think.
Fourth. Open for a 4th top 100 finish. I've missed out on one. I've come 103rd. That was James Hendry's fault. So, should have had one other one, but just missed out. But yeah, open for another top 100. I think that's all I can aim for now, really.
I'm the same as you might, I think, with the transfer count and stuff. But where can people find you, Dan? Multiple places.
Twitter. Yeah, I think I'm Dan Cox _bite size on there now. But yeah, Twitter is the best place. Got my little YouTube channel. Videos a bit shorter than this.
A lot shorter.
You get a season's worth into this, Dan.
Yeah, I'm going to try to write everything we've just talked about. I'm going to try to get it out in 15 minutes tomorrow. I made some notes. But yeah, Twitter and YouTube. YouTube, yeah. Dan Cox Bite Size. Most of the people probably watch that anyway, because we're on about similar views. So, but yeah, thanks for having us on, mate. And I'd like to get on with you and Paul again before the end of the season.
Definitely. And my handle on Twitter is at @FFH_Fergi. So this podcast and video will be on the Fancy Football Hub, Sky and TFF YouTube channel. We did record a Telegraph one. You thought this was long. That was nearly 3 hours long last week. So if you do play Telegraph...
It's very, very good, though.
Good. I'm glad glad you said that, Ian. Yeah, so it's a lot of work, that one as well. But if you do play Telegraph, give that a listen. It's on this channel. And it's also available in all major podcast platforms. If you like what you watch, please press the like button. It would be much, much appreciated. All we want is a little like back. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. If you enjoyed your listen and you're listening on a podcast version, Please rate the podcast and leave us some comments if you would be so kind. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are at FFH_HQ, and our podcast Twitter handle is at FFH_Sky. So please drop us a follow and feel free to ask us any questions. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find everything you need for fantasy football, Sky FF, FPL, Sun Dream Team, Telegraph, Fan Team, all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, everything you can need for fantasy football, all under one roof. We will be back next week. Paul and I will be back probably next Monday or Tuesday, looking ahead to game week 26. Stay safe and goodbye for now.